Hi, sisters! James Charles stole that one from the Mormons. You heard it here first. Today, we're exploring the Utah culture iceberg. I fear after this video, you may never come to Utah and you may never watch another Utah culture video because you'll basically have it all summed up with a perfect little bow on it in the bottom of the ocean. Before we get started, if you want to support the channel and be like kind of then definitely go check out my merch store at onabender.com because look how funny these hats are. These slay, especially like at a club in SLC. Like imagine wearing one of these with like a tank, no bra, titties out. Anyway, go get them. It's the perfect Christmas gift or just the perfect thing for you to have. They come in 3 colors and they all slay. At the top of the iceberg, we have influencers because duh. This is so prominent that I made a video on Utah influencers before I made a video on Utah as a whole. We have it all. Like basically any lifestyle mommy blogger you follow, there's like a 70% chance that she lives here. You follow a hair tutorial girl? Probably in Utah. You follow a relatable lifestyle blogger? Probably in Utah. You follow an Amazon storefront influencer? Probably from Utah. It's shocking. But I do feel like Mormonism like raises us to be like attention-seeking theater kids. So then the internet came along and it's like, okay, well, we've been trained to look perfect our whole lives, be outgoing, speak in front of people, and document our lives. Those are like all things that you learn. So it's kind of like, I guess it kind of does make sense. Not only do we have the influencers, we've suddenly become a reality TV state from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City to Sister Wives because they've moved here, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and now we've got a weird real estate show coming. Have you guys seen that? It's like a Bravo sexy Selling Sunset knockoff that takes place in Salt Lake City. Like I feel like we've seen that in like at least 2 different franchises at this point. It's getting a little tired. Next on the iceberg, we have the Utah Cookie Wars. I'm sure most of you know what crumble cookies is, and if you don't, it's literally just a cookie shop that's gone so viral online because they have a rotating menu of like these absurd cookies. I don't know if you guys have tried them, but you take a bite, it tastes like you got polyester and soaked it in Crisco for a good 45 minutes. Like I'm so confused about the hype every single time. That's the mukbang community. Hey, for members, I have a video on that if you haven't seen it. But anyway, Crumble started in Utah, and they weren't the first people to be doing this exclusive high-end cookie shop. There were like plenty of others like Chip, and all the soda shops were selling sugar cookies at this point. But obviously Crumble was the first one to get into the scene and really make it a corporation. But then only like a year later, this other company called Dirty Dough opens, and Crumble sues their ass, which is so funny because it's like a fight over cookies. Like that's gotta be so embarrassing to go to your lawyer and be like, yeah, they copied my cookies. But basically they alleged that Dirty Dough was swapping out their cookies too fast, similar to them, and that they were copying the packaging. This is fucking stupid. But I can see how as a business owner, you basically want to slow down your competition at any means possible. But basically Dirty Dough took this and made it into a marketing campaign. And then people love an underdog story. So everybody starts talking about Dirty Dough. Here's the thing that's shocking. We're giving Dirty Dough every fucking chance we can because we're like, that's kind of scummy of Crumble to like crush them like this. Dirty Dough sucks so bad. I went and tried it. Why was it like raw and filled with the jelly that comes inside a Hostess gas station pie? I said, oh. If you thought Crumble was sus, go try a Dirty Dough. That thing is an abomination. Next up is Utah wedding culture, because what are you if not married by 21 years old? I actually want to do a separate video on this, so comment if you'd like to see that, but Utah wedding culture is its own breed, especially pre-social media wedding culture, because we had the most crusted, unaesthetic, horrific weddings you've ever seen in your life, and I lived for that. And it goes 2 ways, because if you have rich parents, your wedding is going to be Pinterest. It's going to be insanely immaculate. Everybody's going to be like, whoa. Or it's going to look like a work Christmas party. No in between. Next is Post Malone. Did you guys know that Post Malone lives in Utah? And every person in Utah makes it their personality trait. I think there's one lyric where Post Malone goes, na 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 in the Utah snow. We go nuts for it. Anytime we hear that song, absolutely buck wild. Oh, Raising Cane's house, a location that there's a photo of Post Malone in, we go nuts. Do you know how many people are like, and you know Post Malone lives here? Oh, and did you know that Post Malone just got a property? Yeah, my second cousin's brother-in-law actually has a property next to Post Malone. Yeah, he says he's really nice. Everybody has a connection to Post Malone somehow in Utah. But Post Malone's like he seems like a really nice guy, so like slay. Next is Pioneer Day. Pioneer Day is a holiday that exists only in Utah, and it is celebrated on July 24th. It's basically to commemorate the pioneers who settled Utah on July 24th, 1847. The way we celebrate it, it's honestly just a second 4th of July. It's so fun because I feel like every 4th of July, you know how it's just like you could have done more? 4th of July, it's just like one evening and then it's done. 24th of July, you get a redemption arc to do all the shit you wish you would have done on the 4th that you didn't get done. And that is kind of beautiful. I love Pioneer Day. We get 2 parades. Like, you were for sure out of candy by July 20th, but you knew 4 days and you could refill that shit at the next parade. Maybe you spend the 4th with the family and the 24th with friends. Like, it's brilliant. The city shuts down. Like, most of the roads in major cities get shut down because they're either doing some sort of rodeo parade. They've shut down the street to do a full fair. It is so fun. Like, I can't recommend it enough. Next is Vasa Fitness. At this point, if you live in Provo or Salt Lake, those locations are a full-on meme. Like, it's like, ooh, I went to the Provo Vasa. Who am I gonna see here? And you see like 40 of your exes because, you know, basically your purpose in life when you live in Provo is to basically as quickly as possible shuffle through potential matches until you find your life partner. So you're just going to this gym with newlyweds, your exes, and people looking for someone to try out to be their next life partner. It's beautiful and it's very intense and competitive. For some reason, half the people in Provo are on Tren or Ozempic. The way I explain it is it's like Zumba if it were ran by Captain America. It's very intense. I don't know what to tell you, but Vasa culture is Utah culture, and Utah culture is Vasa. Next, I have Silicon Slopes. You've heard of Silicon Valley? I raise you Silicon Slopes, which is basically Utah's entrepreneurship and tech industry. I would say this primarily exists in the Draper-Lehigh area. If I had to pinpoint it, I would say the Kiln co-working space in Draper. Like, there have been studies that have shown that Utah has a higher rate of unicorn startups than most other places. And I swear to God, Shark Tank has just turned into people from Draper. It's insane. It's always like, and we're from Draper, Utah. Oh, could have guessed. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you why it's so prevalent, but I feel like it's kind of a meme in the culture to be like, oh, you're a Silicon Slopes bro. I'll indulge you with a little bit of lore here. I actually was active in Silicon Slopes marketing chapter. That's all I'm gonna say at this time. Next is summer sales. If you don't know what summer sales is, it's basically door-to-door solicitation, and it's almost a rite of passage for every 18 to 25-year-old Utah man. The goal is to do summer sales from like May to August, grind, make as much money as you can, and then go back to school in the fall so you don't have to worry about work and can focus on your studies. The main companies they work for are like pest control and security, and then it turns into an MLM from there because year 1, you're just knocking on doors, but then year 2, you can start like recruiting people and taking a commission off their sales. And so there are some guys who have been doing it for years and years and years and make a ton out of this thing. Here is a Reddit post on the r/BYU subreddit. Does anyone have experience with summer sales? I was interested in getting into this summer, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. It seems a little bit shady. The recruiting people talk a lot about how you can make $30,000 to $50,000 in a summer, which I'm sure has been done, but it seemed a little sus to me. It seems like if they're trying that hard to get me to join, it makes me feel worse about it. They don't even want a resume or anything. Of course, growing up in Utah, I know tons of people who did this, and the things that I've heard is that it's the summer, so you're walking door to door in a random ass town because you don't really do it in your own state because that looks weird. So they'll fly you somewhere random like Georgia in the peak of summer. So it's like August. You're walking door to door in an uncomfortable polo by yourself with a clipboard trying to sell people on this random ass home security product. You're just working 12 hours a day in the hot sun with no guaranteed paycheck. It sounds so bad. Next, I have the food. And I think it's a stigma. I've seen memes about it online or like Utah starter pack, and it's like making fun of like green jello and like coconut in the jello, or it's like some sort of nasty potato cheese dish. And those are all true. And again, I feel like the internet tainted cringe Mormon culture because it used to be so funny and so weird. You know how like everything used to look like orange and brownish, like Tuscany kitchen mom vibes? And remember how things used to look before we made things cute? That was like Mormonism to its core. Like, I vividly remember doing extended family get-togethers with the weirdest looking people I've ever seen in my life. And then it's a Thanksgiving, but we're accommodating like 150 people because our family's that big. And I'm like looking at this like confusing mac and cheese casserole. And then I'm looking at some sort of jello casserole, and sometimes it's rainbow layers. My aunt does make that and it's very impressive. Definitely there's always a pie, but I think the classic would just be a solid jello with lots of floaties in it, which I don't know. I don't get the jello thing. I think it's disgusting, but I think it's a cheap way to feed 150 people when you have to do Thanksgiving for 150 people. Okay. You know how we used to do those really weird get-togethers in Tremonton in like a basketball court? Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah, like a family reunion.
Yeah. Okay, what was your favorite or least favorite food from that was like weird?
My favorite wasn't really food, but it was homemade root beer.
Oh, I do remember that. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I really don't like any of the Jell-O.
That's what I was talking about.
Like,
because why was it rainbow? And then there was
always-
like,
yeah.
but there were multiple options.
Multiple Jell-O forms. The pretzel one, that one's not
The
like
pretzel one.
that one's not like awful, but there was always like there was just so much Jell-O.
Okay, next I have a conspiracy theory. Mix it up here. This went so viral on Reddit, but the Fun Times Kid Care. Comment if you've heard about this. So this is a daycare in Salt Lake City that looks so botched. What the is going on in there? The Fun Time Kids Daycare conspiracy began on January 25th, 2015, when a user posted a photo. He wrote that he'd lived nearby for 5 years, but he'd never seen any kids having a fun time inside. Soon, other locals weighed in. One user had admitted to seeing children inside despite the cardboard in the windows. So, important note, there were like tiny windows, but they got covered with cardboard. But like, then part of the discussion was it because it was in not the best area of Salt Lake and they wanted to protect the kids' identities, or was it covered up because it's foreclosed and they're selling it? Another user claimed to be a letter carrier who had been inside the daycare and said it was fully functioning. The only strange thing is, the user added, no matter what time of day I showed up with their mail, it always seemed to be nap time. Do mail delivery services not come at the same time every day? I feel like I know exactly when I'm gonna get my mail. Another user claimed to know someone who broke into the facility out of curiosity and found one room with a chair facing a TV displaying a live video of another room in the building. Other people said that the place was just a normal daycare, swept up in paranoia from digital sleuths. People started getting obsessed with this creepy ass daycare. One person even showed up and was trying to get pictures through the cardboard windows. One guy on Reddit claimed to know the guy who owned the daycare. He said, he's nice and nothing weird is going on. He bought the daycare for his mother and runs it at a loss so she has something to do, he posted. Nothing nefarious. I've lived in that neighborhood for 5 years and have seen people there. At the end of the day, I'm sure it was probably just a normal shitty daycare. But how scary to know that you're sending kids to this place and there's random ass Reddit users creeping through the windows trying to see if your kids are real or not in there. As of right now, believe it or not, Fun Times Daycare has been able to withstand the internet debacle and a conspiracy disaster. Next on the iceberg, we have David Archuleta. Now, if you guys don't remember, back when people cared about American Idol, there was a young Utah boy with the voice of an angel named David Archuleta who competed. He made it to the very top round, and then he unfortunately did not win. However, I feel like it was maybe a better move for him. I mean, back then, wasn't it always the runner-up had a better career than the winner for some reason? America fell in love with David Archuleta. I mean, this kid could sing. I remember him being on iCarly. His career skyrocketed, and every person in Utah said, he's mine, I know him. And then all of a sudden, he gets of age, and he's like, I'm leaving Hollywood, I'm leaving the industry, I'm gonna go for my mission. So then he detaches from the entire industry for 2 years, comes back, starts getting back to his career, touring, doing all these amazing things. I mean, my grandma was so obsessed, guys. She had David Archuleta cookie cutters. He ends all his touring and everything, and he comes out of the closet. After all these years of pushing the church and being like a faithful member of trying everything, he comes out. Since then, he's done some work like deconstructing where he's at when it comes to religion. He seems like the nicest person ever. So I will claim David Archuleta every single day. Ooh, I love this next one. Next is Provo's Most Eligible. This is the best dating show of all time. Basically, it's a Bachelor knockoff, but with 18-year-old BYU students who are ready to get hitched. They're ready to make that eternal commitment at 19 and a half years old. Season 1 was like peak comedy. Cody Ko and Noel Miller really popularized this show because they would react to it relentlessly. Every minute of the show was so real. They couldn't have picked a more Provo bro than Colin. And these girls were such an accurate representation. And their interactions were just so dry. I remember one girl kisses the Bachelor and he's like, whoa, I'm gonna ask you to not do that because I just don't think we're there yet. It's so many beautiful moments. Wow. And I've heard they're working on a new season. Could I be on the show? Pitch me. Everybody pitch me for Provo's Most Eligible, the new season, because I feel like I am eligible, I am hot, and I can work as a local talent. Okay, next is In-N-Out, and I don't know why I put this low on the iceberg. That would be my mistake. I'm gonna lose some brownie points for today, but it's okay because I don't need brownie points because I had them for breakfast. I hate being home for the holidays because why the fuck did I have brownies for breakfast, crackers, and cream cheese for lunch? And then for lunch, I mean I just ate them every probably 4 minutes as I passed through the kitchen for like 3 hours, and then fried chicken for dinner. In-N-Outs in Utah are like the club because we don't really go to the club. We don't really go to the bar. But if you want to be seen, if you want to get out there and you want to be seen by other people, you pull up to the In-N-Out. If you go to an In-N-Out in Farmington, Utah or Provo, Utah on a Friday night around 11 to midnight-ish, it's Mogwarts. Everybody will look at you like, you might get out of there with your future husband. I'm gonna be honest. Next, I have returned missionaries. So I think being a missionary, we all know about this. This is like nothing new. But I think what's interesting to me is the lore of being a returned missionary. So after you go on your 2-year where you teach and knock doors in Christ's name, you come back home and it makes you automatically insufferable. Everybody that I know that has gone on a mission has like a good 2 months before they start being tolerable to be around again, because they've gotten used to this like really grueling schedule. They've gotten used to being like on at all times. It's kind of like study abroad students. Always the guy who went to Colombia. He's gonna do the accent. He's going to take you on a date to a Mexican restaurant so that he can order in Spanish. They also aren't allowed to like watch TV or listen to music, so they're like weirdly on a different page culturally than everybody else. So they come back home and they're like a really confusing people. So like the wait period is 2 months and then you can start speaking to your friends once again after that. That's the true pandemic. Next, I have this random LGBTQ friendly area in Salt Lake City. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm gay. I don't want to live in Utah. That's terrifying. I hear you. Strange enough as it is, there is one street in Utah that is like the West Hollywood of Utah, and I am obsessed with it. Every single store has a pride flag. It has one of those signs like, in this house, we believe not to be assholes. It has all are welcome here signs. It is immaculate. The vibes are so good. Everything is like crafty, cutesy little boutiques and like fun little restaurants and bars. It is I need a house on 9th and 9th. Next is Mutual, and if you don't know what that is, congrats. Mutual is Mormon Tinder. I recently made an account as a bit, but like I got so icked by seeing people from my high school and knowing that they saw me that I deleted it. But this app is quite interesting because it asks you questions such as like, how much do you go to church? And it will show on your profile. Do you want a temple marriage? Shows on your profile. Are you temple worthy? So I made this account and I used like meme pictures. Like I used like really weird, strange stuff, and I wrote weird things. Next thing I know, I have 550 likes on this app, and I'm going through and people are saying some crazy things to me. Oh my gosh. I think I used like a swear word in one of my messages to see what this guy would say. And he's like, hey, just so you know, I'm not a typical Mormon. I mess around. And I was like, wait, like what do you do? And he's like, I wouldn't say I obey the law of chastity that strictly. Winking emoji, which law of chastity basically means he's trying bro, what do you mean? I wish I would have saved the messages because the shit I was getting is crazy. Because they're all trying to lock it down for eternity. So they're very eager. You know, like how on a normal dating app, you'll talk to somebody for like 20 minutes, feel like you're bored of them, kind of fizzles. No. These motherfuckers are trying to get a time and place and date immediately. Next, I have soaking. And I really don't want to explain this. Next, we have Evermore. Now, I think you guys know there's that one girl who has like a 5-hour video on the lore of this park. But basically, this rich guy in Utah was like, I want to make an interactive Disneyland. So he took his fortune and he starts building this park. It ends up being a complete fucking disaster. The story of Evermore Park is so interesting to me because literally they were problematic from day one. The laundry list of mishaps is hysterical. I mean, first thing, they opened in 2018 like half-baked. Like they open and it's half-baked. People are like, oh, okay, so this is it? Then we have contractors coming out saying that the park was not paying them. The employees are not having a good time, sharing reports of erratic management. People aren't going. They're hit with COVID. They're hit with financial stress. Then randomly, 2021, they sued Taylor Swift for her album called Evermore, saying that that was trademark infringement. Taylor Swift's team, they are A1 legal. They fire back and countersue for them playing her music without a license. And suddenly, both lawsuits are dropped. Since then, Evermore has been officially closed. But like, what a weird thing. Like, I've seen videos of people going and pictures of people going, and it kind of is just giving like Renaissance fair. Like, you dress up and you go like interact with random characters that give you like quests to do, but the park doesn't have a whole lot to do. So you're just like walking around like collecting tokens, and then you collect the tokens and like that's it. Like, it sounds like you're basically playing like a simulation character game, you know? Next is swinging. Taylor Frankie Paul, come out, girl. Just kidding. I wish. I had no idea that this was a thing in Utah until the mom talk drama happened a couple years ago. And then all of a sudden, everybody on their mother is coming out on TikTok and being like, oh yeah, my neighbors are crazy swingers. Oh yeah, everybody in my church is a crazy. Oh, what? Wait, when were y'all gonna tell me? But I know there are like Facebook groups and there are like bars that encourage swingers, and they just really embrace swinging in a way that other places don't. Next, I have MLMs, and not because they're unknown, but just because I think this is so scummy and dark, I'm putting it low. These are so so prevalent in Utah. Shitty mascara to shitty lipstick to fake essential oils. We have it all. And we have the HQ, and they're huge. They make so much fucking money. It's disgusting and terrifying. It ruins lives, but it's the Utah way. There are a lot of podcasts that get into like, wait, why is Utah like the epicenter? And the biggest reason is because people have so much community here through church. So they're so trusting of each other, and they have a large network of women, and women are also encouraged to stay home. So women might be looking for a little side hustle, but they're really limited on what they can do because they really do want to maintain being a mother full time. So the MLM seems like the perfect opportunity. Like, oh, I sit on my couch and like send out a few calls and text messages. Sounds great. Finally, we have polygamy. And not in like the woke hipster kind of way that's happening now, in like the like scary living on like a strange territory that somehow is not governed by normal officials, that like you're doing all sorts of scamming and fraud to be able to house your 30 underage wives, in the way that like your cult leader is literally in jail and directing the cult from prison. Yeah, polygamy in that sort of way. The polygamists in Utah exist in southern Utah, between there and the border of Arizona. Actually, I've gone to St. George, and I feel like when you go there, you actually see a couple polygamists in the wild, and you're like, oh, and they like don't look around. They try to lock in on their topic because they don't want to be like messed up by the outside world. But obviously, this is bottom of the barrel. I do hate when people are like, oh, you're from Utah? Are you a polygamist? Bitch, the no, I am not. Why has nobody just gone in and arrested every single person living in this community? I mean, not the girls, obviously. And also, how are you gonna let a man that looks like Warren Jeffs tell you that you're not allowed to ride a fucking bicycle? You're gonna tell me this motherfucker is the Messiah? And there you have it, folks. That is the comprehensive Utah cultural iceberg. I hope you learned something new, or just thought it was like somewhat funny and entertaining. And I hope you got your dishes or laundry done while watching this. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe because it really does help. And let me know what you want to see next. Bye!